Then it was the decision of putting her back up for sale again and when, because at this point we were in lockdown. We're still in lockdown. And I feel like in my explanation video I didn't quite get all the points of exactly why I was selling Carly. So to reiterate why, actually the main reason was because I was doing my GCSE year, and for what Carly, she's 6, not 5, she's 6, and she's 7 this year, but she has a mental age of about a 4 or 5-year-old. But that is not her fault, purely because she was in racehorse training very early on in her life, and it didn't work out. She wasn't good enough. She went to a yard for college or something, like she went there to be trained to do normal English riding. Yeah, and she just had so many people riding her there. She didn't know who to trust, because Carly's she's a horse that really needs someone that she can just trust and have like a one-to-one relationship with, and it just wasn't for her. And she was moved around all over the place, and then she was sold to another lady who then turned out I didn't have time for her. Then her friend had to sell her, and then here she is, she's with me. So I feel like in the time that I've had Carly, we haven't really had that one-on-one bonding that I saw with one of my previous horses called Sparkles. And I feel like that's also what put me off her, because it's been a year and nothing basically. But that's just me being kind of stupid, because I didn't really take into consideration her past and how much she'd moved around and things like that, and she just didn't really trust that many people. And at that yard, when there were so many people riding her, they were just a bit rough with her, like tapping her up and things like that. Yeah, so, and this is kind of like what I've been told and what I can infer because of how Carly behaves. Yeah, so I decided that was for the best, and also purely because in the summer she's a bit crazy and hormonal, and her and Jolie have not had the best relationships in the field. They have kicked each other twice. Yeah, so that was kind of mostly the reasons why we were going to sell her. But she's not bad, she has so much potential, things like that. So then recently Carly just had other plans, and we very recently swapped the horses to haylage, sort of, because we now feed them haylage in the field, so in the morning and at lunchtime, and they have hay at night. Yeah, so she has always been on haylage. Apart from when she came to me, she was on hay up until now. She's partly on haylage. Yeah, so we didn't, which we should have, we didn't slowly move her on to haylage because we thought, well, we're still feeding her hay and she should be fine. You know, it's not like she's never eaten haylage before. But she's not had it for a year. So we didn't change her onto it gradually, and we didn't for Jolie either. But I came into her stable at night, or I came down to the horses they'd had their feeds, I was just giving them their hay, and it was last check for the night, and I was in Jolie's stable, and in the corner of this stable, I'll show you, she's like she has chewed the top of this. So I was in Jolie's stable because Jolie's stable is in there. I put my hand over there, and yeah, she usually comes running up to me, well, not running up to me, but she usually comes over there, or she's usually standing there. So I looked through one of the cracks in the boards. It's not really a crack, it's just where two of the boards meet. And she was stood usually where I put the hay, which is in the corner that's over there, with her head in the corner and her ears were back. And I just knew that that's definitely not how Carly behaves. She never puts her head in the corner unless she's at the back of the stable looking at Jolie, because that's just about what she likes to do. Yeah, so I got concerned, so I went in her stable, gave her her hay. She was acting normal, perfectly fine, and started eating her hay, but I realised that when I came to skip them out, when it came round to skipping Carly out anyway, she had not pooed, and she had been in the stable since 4 o'clock, and it was now 7:15. Yeah, there was just nothing in here, and she hadn't had any water in all of those hours as well, so I knew something was up. So it turned out, we thought for a bit that she had colic, because she kept kicking and lifting her legs up at her stomach, and she did it once or twice, and during the day she kept rolling excessively, not too much to the point where it was hugely obvious, but I noticed that she rolled about 4 times in the day in the same period of time, in about like 2 or 3 hours. And maybe for some horses that's normal, but for Carly it definitely isn't. So we kept checking on her, and then I came back and she did poo. But in the end, it turned out that she had a very slight blockage. So we have got her some gut supplement to help that. Yeah, and now she does have hay mixed with haylage in the day. Well, that's what she did have, but now she does have it normal again, where she has haylage in the day and hay at night. So yeah, and then the next day, after Carly was feeling better, we were still deciding when we were going to put her back up for sale. And me and Carly have never really had, as I said, we've never really had that like connection. So she just came running up to me this one evening when I went to come and get her in. She's never run up to me or anything like that. She's never like neighed for me to get her in from the stable. She's never like actually let me hug her face, you know, like wrap my hands around her face. But just for something clicked, and I just went up to her, went up to the gate to go and get her in, and she just came running over with her ears pricked forward and neighed at me and she just kind of like buried her head into my arms, and she just like sat there for about 5 minutes and just didn't want to go. She didn't want to take her head out so I could put her head collar on. She just kind of sat there with me, and ever since we've just kind of had that kind of connection. So then I was like, okay, well, I think I'm going to think about keeping her, because I really don't want to get rid of her. And I also before was not thinking about what was best for Carly, because I do truly think that it's best if, you know, I do keep her, because one, a lot of the people that we rung up didn't want to do jumping, or they just wanted, one person wanted a happy hacker, and, you know, a lot of people were more into dressage just at the time of when she was up for sale. And there's just not, Carly needs to go to someone who is gonna jump her, because it's her main point, that's her strength, that's what she enjoys. And I feel like if she was just doing dressage or anything like that, or just hacking and doing pleasure rides, she'd get like completely bored. So yeah, so a couple days later after this decision, one of the girls that didn't have a place for Carly to stay messaged my mum and basically said that they'd found a perfect place and that she really, really, really loved Carly, which broke my heart, because I hate like letting people down like that. Like, I'm just like that kind of person. I just really don't like letting people down. Like, she generally seemed like she was so interested in Carly when she did come to view her. She was going to do jumping with her, but she wasn't the most confident, but that didn't really matter to me, because she seemed like a very good home at the end of the day. And Carly's been getting better with her jumping. She's getting more confident, so I did truly believe that Carly could actually give her confidence, even though Carly isn't a confidence giver as such. So, but unfortunately I did have to say no, so I've actually decided to keep Carly. But if you're wondering, oh, I've missed two, how have I done that? Not wearing my glasses. If you're wondering why there hasn't been like loads of videos of me like riding and things like that, we're literally just keeping the horses ticking over at the minute until we get the school, until we're out of lockdown, until we can go out and do some more things with the horses. So they're literally just hacking, and I find that might be a little bit boring for you guys, but if you have any like suggestions, comment them down below, and I will see you next